when you need to have a defined start point and a defined end point with sequential steps, funnels are the way to go. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use and analyze funnels inside of PostHog once you have all your data set up correctly. I'm going to use two different examples. One is going to be a software company. So we own helloconversions.com, which is a software for high level, a very low volume, but like it's purring along, people having things there. And then I'm going to use a more marketing centered approach, which is going to be on visionlabs.com, which is the agency where we do technical implementations of data, architecture, and help with marketing teams and data teams get better actionable results, right? So two different examples, two different use cases, all within PostHog, all using funnels. Okay. Let's talk about how you should think about this first. So I'm going to use the pricing example because that is the thing that most software companies really understand is someone viewed pricing. So we have a page view that occurred on the pricing page. That is a page view event, right, with the pricing filter. We then have someone who created an account. Maybe you have that next step, created an account. We then have someone starting a trial. And then maybe we have, they connected a source. They did something in your application that helps them get to that outcome. All right. So maybe it's you have connecting a source, connecting a database, whatever. For Hello Conversions, I'm going to use that as the example. So let me just copy this entire thing. And we're just going to do this exactly for Hello Conversions. Step one is going to do the event is equal to page view. And then the filter will be contains pricing. All right, then we're going to have someone create an account. We're then going to have connect a data source, which is one of the main things that you should be doing in the account. Okay, so that's going to be it. We're going to have these three steps as our funnel of the page view of a pricing, account created, and then connected a data source. I'm going to then use the idea here as an action. So if you are a PostHog user, there's the idea of an action. So this is going to be any way to create an account, and then we're going to use the action of connecting a data source. Okay, let's now hop into PostHog, and here is the example right in front of your face. So page view is the event right here in the set of funnels. We are then going to hop into the filter of it if it contains pricing. And you can see here all the other options. I really recommend that you use contains pricing because a lot of applications utilize URL query parameters, URL parameters to further filter content on the page, etc., or even just click IDs, etc. So use contains more often. I wish PostHog would add a thing of like current URL clean or something like that, but beggars can't be choosers. We then have the event action here of created an account, which it's basically just the event of account created there. And then we are going to use the destination created, which is just the event of destination created. So I like actions because you can update them more proactively inside of PostHog. So if you forget to do something, it will update everywhere as long as you're using these broader definitions in your funnels. And here we go. So we now have these 13 people that happened to view the site, and then we have one person who created an account, and they also did the thing of create a destination. And what we can do is look at this over 90 days, and let's see what happens. I forget when we set these up again here. So here we go. So over the last 90 days, I don't think we're here for the whole 90 days. We had 94 people that saw the pricing page. We had 9 people that created an account, and 6 of them connected a destination. We could then keep going, right? Maybe you have the trials, and then you have pricing, and then you have viewing the actual outcome. You get the idea, right? You can have those things. A really cool thing is you come down here and you have these correlated events. So you have to hit a button here that will say, hey, this is run a correlation analysis. Right now, we're working with like 10 people. So again, here is those things. But what we've done here is we have utilized, we've skipped steps, right? So I didn't look at every single step inside of this funnel. So here we have started trial, right? So you have to start a trial in order to connect things. So it's kind of inherent, right? We then have to create a customer. Customer has to be created, obviously. Location has to be connected. So here's a little fun fact is you cannot create a destination until you have a location connected. So here, 5 completed. So you can kind of see as this funnel is building out, identified, again, 119 logged in, etc. Like you can see here how these would all be more helpful if you had a higher volume. But now you know they are there. So I'm going to hit save on this. And then how I would recommend to use this is that you go into a dashboard, you create a new dashboard, And I'm going to just create a blank dashboard. And then you can add insights into your thing. So here is me. There we go. We have now this pricing here. So if you are viewing a dashboard, I'll just call this YouTube demo. You now have this here. So you can hover over any of these states and you can see all of that. And then you can show the details to make sure that you have all of the steps then created, right? So now we've got this funnel. Here's how it's going. And then you can add in filters. You can change the date range on that, and that will override the date range. So if we go on to the last 14 days, it will then update there. So now we have the last 14 days, and you can see one person dropped off, that little sucker. The one thing you can do I really like about PostHog is if you click on this person, the one person who dropped off, you can then see, it's blurred for you, but you can see that person who did drop off, and you can then create them as a cohort and send them to either email automations or your support team or your contact team, etc. So you can see all those people right there. And if you wanted to kind of dive into, hey, these people then did these things, and as long as they're in your app, you should have them with their identify call, and then you should have their actual email addresses there. So that's how I like to use that. Then if you hit save, let me show you this, right? You're like, where's that correlation thing? What if it changes? How do I use that? What you have to do in order to view that is you have either one of two options. Either one, you can click on this and it will open this up bigger, and then you can load results on this. So this is where you will have to see that. So if you go back, again, just to reiterate, you have to click on your actual funnel, and then that will open the actual product analytics of this insight. And then you can see, if you scroll down here, you can see your correlation events right there. So that is the example, more product related thing where you have a bunch of events there. Let's now hop into a different account. We're going to hop into our Vision Labs account here. And I'm going to create a very simple marketing centered focus. So I'm going to create a new funnel from scratch. We are then going to hop into this funnel, and we're going to do the first thing being a page view where they viewed the current URL. And this contains blog. And then I'm going to have another step here, and then we're going to look at where the current URL. Oh, so I'm on page view, then hop in here, add filter, current URL. Contains contact. And let's just see if this actually works. And let's just remove this. Okay. So here we go. So now we have more marketing centered things. Over the last 7 days, we had 180 people who viewed the content on the blog. And then we had 2 of those people that then visited the contact page. What you'll see down here is your correlation. You have to choose an event that occurs or less frequently. So here is what you can do. So if I hit load results on this correlation, you will then see the events. This is where people like really start losing their mind. Okay, because we are looking at product analytics data, right? PostHog is a product analytics tool. You are going to then be looking at the correlation between all these events. This is, I would say, your biggest use case for why you'd want to force events in. We have lead impression as whenever someone loads a page that has a lead magnet on it. That allows you to then quickly see those events, and then you can see the correlation of those, and then you can see the properties that correlate with them, right? So Chrome is a lot more likely than that. These are all browser events as opposed to server events, so just something to keep in mind there. But it can be really helpful where you have like content viewed versus survey dismissed, right? So all of these are events that are correlated to those things. What people really oftentimes want, right, in this scenario, let's open this up more. Let's say blog. I'm going to do a little matches regex. We'll do blog and then do a pipe. Blog, pipe, metric, pipe, and academy. So if it's any of these things, it should be a lot more volume. Okay, 404. And then we're just going to do the contains the homepage. All right, so 79 people made it to the homepage. The correlation thing no longer really makes any sense, right? We're like not really like, oh, how's it going to work? So what people oftentimes want when it comes to the marketing side of things is you want to look at user paths. This is what really makes people like excited, because you can use these things called wildcards in the sense of a funnel. It's kind of a funnel. It's like a open-ended funnel where you could say, hey, I want them to start on like a page. Like if you're looking at more specifically, I want them to start on this page of the metrics all CTR, right? But that's not that helpful. It's one blog about metrics, and you're like, that's not even that many people. Like, what's happening? So we can use these wildcards. So here we can say, hey, I want to do visionlabs.com/blog and then /wildcard, right? So that's going to be anybody there. Or another one, visionlabs.com/academy /star bippity boppity boo. We now have these two different wildcards, and we can hop over here and we can say, okay, blog. There we go. And there is all of the blog kind of, you can see here how they go through different places. This oftentimes is really helpful when you look at like, hey, how is it trending? So blog, they go to homepage, then they go to contact, about, all right, metrics, then pricing. So here, our blog right here is kind of driving all of these different outcomes. And you can see here, ending up on the homepage, all those different pieces. And then you can lower the number of steps that you want to see. I often find that like lower steps gets it a little bit easier to like quickly visualize, where you're like, okay, cool, there. That's where they all ended up. And then maybe you want to open it up from there. Then you can look at the maximum number of paths. And if you want to adjust this down, it just can get really wild. And then you can do the maximum number of people on each path. So say, for example, you have a really, really big site and you were like, say, hey, let's try to limit the number of people here. And we want to only see whether there is between 10 and 50. We don't have a lot of people that come on our site, so let's do 4 and 50. There we go. So here you can see it's grouped those together. The last thing I want to show you here is that if you do have a lot of URL parameters or a lot of things, you can then come in here and say, hey, I want to kind of group all of these things together and just call them one thing. So here, for example, what they're using is that they're using no escape, like escape slashes are needed here, just so you know that. They use the RE2 syntax for regex. And so if we do here, / I think of an example here that we've got. See, I want to remove all URL parameters. Let's see if this works. They're like, cool, let's see if that works. Apply. All right, that totally worked. Okay, well, that's how you remove all URL parameters. Okay, that was just a quick example, not probably the best example, but I wanted to show you that other idea of looking at user paths as an outcome. So just to reiterate back again, funnels will be predefined, and you can use correlation to go between each step, right? Hey, to complete this funnel, the other things are more helpful. If you were trying to explore the start point and an end point, that's where you want to use user paths. Both can be used together. I'd say 80% of the time you're going to want to use funnels. Make sure you have a lot of events sorted, and then sometimes you want to use user paths. You can add all of these to a dashboard. The only downside, the only thing you have to really remember here is that you have to click on the individual thing that you are looking at. Let me go back here. Oh, other account. So you'd have to then look at the individual one. So hopefully that is helpful to you of understanding how funnels work, how you can use those correlations, and then what you can do to actually action that data and say, hey, let's now build something better.